want is right here. We gon' give them what they came for. We gon' take it up from last year. Shoot 'em my shot, boy, I'm long range. Me and the team on the same thing. Stayed down, never switched up. Only thing changed was the game. I'm in the zone now. Nothing can change what we on now. When I pull up, know it's going down. Foot on the gas, ain't no slowing down. Aiming for greatness, no settling. Kick down the doors, they won't let me in. Taking no else, yeah, I gotta win. Watch me kick down the doors, they won't let me in. Who running the game now? Foot on the gas, can slow down. No, my team, we holding it down. We know we running it now. Watch the game change. Watch the game change. Watch the game change. Watch the game change.
Welcome to another edition of the Cavalier podcast. It's your boy, Mac. Joining me today is my friend Larry Nance Jr. Larry, how's it going, man?
Life's good, man. No complaints. How about you?
We got Cavaliers basketball returning very, very shortly. Preseason basketball has been extremely fun to watch, obviously, despite the wins or losses. Nobody really cares about that. It's some of the individual developments and watching these guys take the court, including yourself. But I have to ask you this, man, because you guys have a huge matchup to start the season against a New York Knicks team that many people believe is going to be a contender for that number one seed. Now, I myself, obviously, I'm biased. I believe the Cavaliers are going to be that number one seed, but New York is right there up in that the top three seeds projected in the East. And this is at the Garden. Just personally, I have to ask you this because I've always wondered about nerves. Entering that type of atmosphere, this is your return to the Cavaliers in a season that many people consider you guys to be like true contenders. Is there any nerves running through your system right now? Is there any anxiety about that first game?
Yeah, no question. No question. That's I don't think that ever really goes away. I think it's not like rookie nerves where it's like going to negatively affect my performance, but like, yeah, butterflies, like the anticipation, the excitement, like we worked all summer for this moment and here we are. So I think it's a healthy amount of nervousness and also a healthy amount of excitement, but yeah, nerves are very much so there.
Is this something that you have a specific ritual or way to get around these things? How do you manage that? Or you just have to play?
No, you just got to play. You got to play. Like you just have to have confidence in all the work that you put in the summer, right? Like, yeah, I was locked in the gym this summer, so I have no. Even if I go out there and play terribly, it's not from something I did in the summertime. My work is already. I'm prepared. I've studied. You know what I mean? I'm ready for the exam, and it's positive, man. It's positive nerves and positive excitement. Like we can't wait.
You love to hear stuff like that because just watching preseason ball, you could tell just the excitement around this team. Not even just the fan base, but you guys look extremely excited to be out there and finally get to showcase this new product and some of the new pieces and whatnot. And speaking of those pieces, alongside yourself is Thomas Bryant, a player that apparently, Cleveland, it was down to you and TB. And then you guys both ended up becoming Cavaliers, which is just frankly awesome and adds to the depth and the versatility of this team. And to me, that's the biggest factor here, having that versatility, having the size out there, being able to turn to yourself or Thomas Bryant or Dean Wade or, any number of guys in that front court if somebody's having an off night or if there's a matchup and whatnot. Can you speak a little bit to the just the player side of that, knowing that you have somebody beside you on that bench that can that's been there and has that playoff experience and can contribute to this team?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's it's super reassuring. Obviously we to get to the finals, to get to a championship, like teams are going to ask you a whole lot of questions, right? Like, hey, can you guard this? How do you play against this? Man, we've got the best player in the world in Jokic when we get there. Like, how do you guard that? Like, you've got Shea. Like, there's answers, there's questions. So every team's going to ask us of our defense, of our offense. And the more amount of able bodies, the more amount of rotation players that you can put out there to help answer each specific question is a necessity. I mean, you saw OKC even in the finals, like they were playing 9-10 guys sometimes just because like Yeah, whatever you ask us, we got the answer on the bench. And that's kind of how this team feels. If you want to go, two bigs, if you want to go two bigs, we got that. You want to go two smalls, we got that. No smalls, no bigs. Like, we have the answer to every possible question that you could ask us. And I think that just speaks volumes to the guys currently on the roster, but also the new additions. I think we plugged a lot of holes that were there.
That's exactly what it looks like out there. Just personally, you being on the court alongside Brian, alongside Lonzo and whatnot. Is there something that you've seen from just basically anybody on this roster that you were like, I did not know that was in that guy's game, or that you were taken by surprise about a guy being able to do a specific thing?
I'm trying to think. I mean, obviously TB's intensity stands out. He's playing preseason games like to the finals. So that's just what you got to it's what you
The
got to love about
intensity.
him. Yeah, it's what you got to love about him. He's locked in all the time. And Zoe, for me, it's just when he's on the court, it's beautiful basketball.
It
Those,
truly is.
those are the kind of lineups that I live to play in, and guys live to play in, where the ball's hopping and moving, and it's just good to see his influence on a game on the game again. So I've been impressed with just about everybody. This is a team that, again, there's not a lot of questions you can ask us that we can't answer.
That's what it certainly seems like. I think the biggest factor around the team in general is just health. Everybody's praying for health for this Cavaliers roster, and myself included, because I truly believe that you guys have what it takes to get to that championship contender level. And I just think that when it comes to Lonzo being managed and making sure that the minutes are low, especially earlier on in the season, or if he plays in back-to-backs or not, those are some of the things that will eventually pay off come April, come May, and in the pursuit of a championship. And just watching Lonzo out there passing the ball, because he had a couple of dimes to you, I think, in that it was either the last game or the game before, where it's just like, man, Lonzo's either seeing plays develop before they are actually out there, or he's just throwing guys open, or just making sure that the ball is placed in such an area that only you or anybody else he's throwing the ball to can get to. And that, to me, it's just a sight to see, especially having that coming off your bench, because Lonzo, he's always had the potential to be a big time impact player and a starter, right? And to have that is a luxury off the bench. Same thing with you, like the versatility that is offered, and knowing that if you can literally go from an Evan Mobley or a Jarrett Allen and have little drop off in terms of spacing, rebounding, things like that. I think you have perfect counters to throw at these teams in ways that the rosters in years past may not have had. I don't know. It's just very, very exciting to see, man.
No, I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. Like, it's I don't know if I've been on a team where you look around and it's just like, man, his place is full of talent. Every one of these guys, like, you can make a case. We're going to get to the regular season. There are going to be games that I feel I should play more. There are going to be games that Lonzo feels he should play more. That guys that Dean, Sam Merrill, guys that feel like they should play more. And the reality is they probably should. But when you're on a team this loaded and stacked, it's about the sacrifice that everybody's willing to make, to make it all work, to get to the dance healthy. So that may be lower minutes on some nights. That may be different guys on some nights, different guys on other nights. Like, I think we're all bought into the fact that, like, yeah, there's a lot of talent, there's a lot of depth, and as long as we're all swimming in the same direction, like, that's all that matters.
I couldn't have said it better myself. I mean, how do you stay, from a mental standpoint, how do you stay locked in and focused when you're having a game where you feel like, hey, man, I can contribute more, this is clearly working, but you get pulled? How do you stay locked in and focused when you're in a situation like that?
Again, it's not easy. It's not easy because we're all I don't want to say rhythm players, but when you get into a rhythm, it's hard to want to come out of it. And so there are going to be moments where you're going to see guys frustrated. There are going to be times where I may be frustrated, sure, but like, again, as long as the main goal is the main goal, and that's winning games, we can work through everything else.
Yeah, I think managing that type of stuff from a head coaching perspective, just from a coaching perspective, period, that is always probably going to be a tall order because you got all these different egos that are mixing and intertwining and whatnot, and making sure everybody stayed even keel, or just frankly dealing with emotions day to day, game to game. That's got to be something that is tough to do. I mean, when you're talking about managing grown, managing and trying to work alongside other grown men, so that has got to be a difficult thing. Is there one game that when you look on the schedule, because and you know what, maybe you can answer this for me too. Do you circle games? Is there specific games on schedules when they come out that you just circle like, man, I can't wait for this one from your matchup
Um,
standpoint?
I mean, I really enjoy playing against the teams that I was previously on. Um, Lakers, New Orleans, Atlanta, Portland. Like I just enjoy those games just because it gives you a little extra, manufactured FU going into it. You know what I mean? Like whether it was a great time there or not, like when I'm thinking about playing you, I can't wait to have a great game, So I think those ones are always circled. Obviously, I'm excited to play. Anytime you can play on Christmas, that's special. Christmas in New York is going to be a blast. Um, but other than that, not necessarily. I'm these regular season games to me are very. You know, I feel like on a team like this, they're going to be more about us than anything else. So right, it's those are kind of the ones that I have circled. But other than outside of that, it's just one of the 82.
Fair enough. Yeah, I know we as fans kind of play it up and make it up as more than is at times, but I mean, let's not beat around the bush. You guys will have a target on your back, perceived being the number one team, so you're probably going to get the best in terms of play from other teams and opponents. And honestly, I think that's a good thing, right? It can bring out competitiveness. It can give you a little bit of adversity to work with, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing at all, especially in terms of keeping guys sharp throughout a long regular season. I just I look around the spectrum of the Eastern Conference, and it's very difficult to discern. And you can really make this case for the entire NBA outside of maybe OKC, where it's like who's going to emerge, right? You got Boston, who with Tatum's injury, and he looks like he's progressing very well in his recovery. And you got Tyrese Halliburton's, and you got some of the shuffling that occurred throughout the Eastern Conference, whether that be to Milwaukee, Indiana, or Milwaukee, Orlando, Atlanta. All these different teams are experiencing kind of shakeups, and you guys got continuity on your side. And I know you're a newer addition, re-edition, but there's just a lot of familiarity that this team has, and that is a huge thing to have going in your favor. Throughout preseason, I think one thing that has been abundantly clear is that chemistry. You appear to be trying to develop chemistry. Have you had any concerns in that regard, or does it just feel like it fits like a glove being out there?
No, it makes a whole lot of sense. Again, it made a whole lot of sense. It made a whole lot of sense when I signed here, and it made a whole lot of sense when I was out there. For me, it's just I think now it's just getting comfortable with guys. I think some of our more fun lineups are going to be when I'm out there with Evan and Zoe, and maybe me and him are playing both at like 4.5s. You know what I mean? Like both power forward and center. We can just interchange within the same play and stuff like that. It's just creative. I think you can get really creative with the different lineups we have out there, and that's going to take some time. It's going to take some lumps and bumps, but again, like we want to peak at the right time. So we'll take some lumps and bumps trying to figure out best lineups, best develop that chemistry, and as long as in April and June we're starting to hit our peak, I think we've done the right thing.
I mean, seriously, I think that's the goal moving forward, especially earlier on this season when you're managing the injury of Darius Garland, when you're trying to figure out the timetable of a Max Strus, and you're trying to experiment with some of the lineups and what works and what doesn't work. I personally feel that is probably going to end up being the case, and for the better. And I think that, whether it results in a win, whether it results in a loss earlier on in the season, I just think that these are the things that you kind of have to go through as a contending team, especially when you're integrating new pieces that will ultimately end up paying off in that postseason time. So I look forward to that very, very much. Talk to me a little bit about Tyrese Proctor, because he has been such a big deal this preseason. He had that monstrous performance in the first preseason game. What have you seen from Tyrese that has stood out to you the most?
It's like a little bit of swagger he's got with him. It's his confidence. There's no shot he won't take. There's no defender he doesn't think he can take, and it's refreshing to see. This he's got. I know there's an interview where Donovan said he's got it or whatever it is, and it's true. It's true. He's got he's got a little bit of fu in him that you have to be, to survive in this league. Guys are coming to take your job every night, and you got to be ready to defend it. And I think he's got that, and he understands that like it is, sure, it's just basketball, but like there's a little more to it than just basketball. You got to play with a little bit of chip, a little bit of edge, and he does that every day. So he's going to be just fine.
Yeah, I think so. I think the biggest question mark in regards to Proctor is really just how much playing time he's going to get on such a stacked roster. And I think that patience is obviously necessary, not only from fans, but probably going to be on the part of Proctor as well. But he showed some very encouraging signs and, alluded to a lot of the reasons why Cleveland took him in the first place at 49th. And I don't know about you, dude, but I was seriously wondering why the hell this dude fell to 49, because he looks like a first round talent out there. Can't wait to see how he progresses throughout the season and how he's utilized, but he definitely has that energy about him where he just exudes the confidence, especially in the pull-up game. I think a lot of people, when they watched him at Duke, they did not understand the level of talent that he was playing with there, especially on ball, which rendered him mostly a spot up shooter at times. And so you see some of these plays where he's pulling up, he's hitting that midi, he's doing a lot of these different things that you didn't necessarily see frequently at Duke that will lead you to believe that this is a consistent part of his game. And to see him do that at the professional level, even if it's in preseason, it was a sight to see. So I'm very, very excited about what he could potentially bring to the table. Now, somebody else that was really intriguing, and a guy who's been on the roster for a couple of years now, and we're hoping that he's able to showcase kind of a leap this year, is Craig Porter Jr. Is there one thing from Craig, and I know this is your first year back with the team, but is there one thing just in watching him in practice and in training camp and in these preseason games where you're just like, this guy does look like he's improved?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we just keep getting on him about he needs to shoot the ball. He's got it. I mean, I see him shoot every day and he knocks him down. But, and it was something that I struggled with too. Sometimes your shot is the right shot. That for him is going to be the biggest thing going forward. But I love his pace. I love the way he plays. He plays at his own speed. He plays, he plays to his own strengths, and I think he's got his IQ is through the roof. So, and a sneaky athlete, which caught me by surprise. I'm starting to pay attention a little bit. Sneaky athlete, but for him, I personally really enjoy being on the court with him. I know we got pretty good chemistry when we're out there, and he knows I'm always looking for him when he drives. So, he's somebody that has impressed me since I've gotten here.
Yeah, I'm really hoping the best for CPJ this year. I know that honestly, I'm going to keep it 100 with Darius, with Donovan, with Lonzo. It's going to be difficult in terms of managing those minutes from a game to game perspective, but I do feel like he'll have enough to be able to try and have a breakout this year. And I think we're all kind of looking forward to the progress that he puts on display. Now, somebody who has caught the flack of fans in the past, and unfortunately he caught some this preseason, was Dean Wade. I don't know what it is, Larry, because I have tried to sway people's mindset on various social settings, whether it be social media or in person. They just do not understand the value of having a player like Dean Wade on your roster, somebody who is extremely versatile, somebody who we think of as being one of the best wing defenders in basketball, whether he gets the credit or not, and somebody who can knock down that 3-point shot and is an underrated rebounder. Watching Dean Wade and being up there personally alongside him, what has stood out to you about what he brings to the table?
Yeah, I'm on your side of this. I think Dean Wade is a terrific litmus test for basketball fans. There's nothing flashy about him. He doesn't, it's not like he's dunking on folks and talking trash or whatnot. Like he guards the best player at an elite level, whether it's a guard, a wing, or a big, at an elite level, each one of them. He knocks down his open shots. When you have guys like Donovan, Evan, Darius, and Jarrett, like, you don't always need somebody that's trying to create theirs. You don't always need somebody that is interested in getting some shine. Like, those guys, we have 4 all-stars. Like, sometimes my job is to defend and shoot if they give me the ball. And Dean, I think, does an awesome job of doing exactly what he's asked to do. The life of a role player oftentimes isn't that glamorous, but I'll tell you what, like, Dean Wade is an awesome litmus test for basketball fans. Like, if you really understand the game, then you can see, like, you can understand Dean's value. And if you don't, I think you got some things to learn about basketball. But either way, to me, Dean is incredibly valuable. He's been incredibly valuable, and he's going to continue to be incredibly valuable. Again, every night basis, I have no idea what that's going to look like for me, him, TB, Tyrese, Craig. We have no idea. But throughout the course of the season, Dean is well worth everything every plaudit he's gotten, and deserves more.
I couldn't agree more. I'm so sick and tired of arguing with people about this or having discussions with people about it, because clearly, if you know the game of basketball, or if you pay attention to the things out there that matter in terms of impacting winning, Dean is a positive contributor out there, and hopefully he'll continue that this season. One of the players, and we kind of touched on this the last time that we spoke, Evan Mobley. He is now starting to get the praise of a guy that looks like he could be a top 5 player, or at least that's what you're hearing around the NBA, whether it be from analysts or GMs. You're starting to see heaps and heaps of praise on this dude, and he does look like he's carrying himself a little bit different than in seasons past. What has stood out to you about Evan Mobley from this offseason so far?
I would say the biggest thing for me that has stood out is his ability to play off the dribble. That was something that game planning kind of against him in years past. That's kind of what you wanted to kind of make him do. Like, hey, pressure him at the 3-point line, pressure him when he catches it, make him put it down. That ain't the game plan this year. His handles tight, his decision making is super sound. Like, yeah, I mean, I everything coming out, everything that you've heard, I back up. He's been someone I've been incredibly impressed with since I've gotten in the gym with him. Just the ease at which he does certain things and the confidence that he's playing with is I'm glad I'm on his team.
Is he a tough task, or is he a tough assignment in practice to handle?
Yeah, it's a tough cover. It's a tough cover, especially when we got him handling more. It's a tough cover for anybody. So I'm really excited for him this year.
Yeah, I'm hoping that, because he took a step forward last year and he's improved every single season that he's been in the league. Even if you're not seeing that at points statistically, you can clearly see the improvements. But that's somebody that I think a lot of people really, really hope is able to take that next step, especially with some of the opportunities that he's going to be afforded this year. And speaking of opportunities, a player that is going to have more of them probably than he's ever had is Sam Merrill. Sam Merrill, to me, is kind of one of those guys that falls in that Dean Wade bucket of, okay, you may not see everything that he brings to the table if the 3-point shot isn't falling, but clearly this is a player that is more than simply that, right? He's a above average defender. He is somebody that can torch you, especially from that 3-point line. And something that he kind of hinted at, especially during Cavs Media Day, was going back to those college days, those college roots at Utah, USU, if being able to pull up off the dribble and hitting that midi. And I think that as the season goes on, especially with Darius out for right now and with Max, the timetable not quite being clear right now, he's going to get those opportunities. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what, from an offensive standpoint, what additionally he brings to the table. Have you seen anything from Sam this offseason or this preseason that kind of makes you feel like we may get a career year out of him?
Yeah, look, I mean, first things first, this dude's got a flamethrower, right? Like
Yeah.
an absolute flamethrower. That's the best shooter in the gym, and it's I bet you could poll everybody that's been in the gym, and nobody's going to say anybody but Sam Merrill. He's got a flamethrower, which if we know that, other teams know it too. So, therein provides exactly what you want in a role player next to Evan, Evan, Donovan, like Darius later on, like elite spacing. Whether he makes it or not, that's a defender that cannot help
You got
because
to
it's
pay
going
attention
up.
to him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's going up. And like you said, I think he's a sneaky good defender. Like people, he's not the one that like you see on the court and immediately call up into a ball screen, because he's gonna fight. He'll fight you. And but for him, and just in terms of playing, like getting him downhill has been great. Getting him, whether it's coming off a pin down and, his man's chasing him, so he takes it inside the 3-point line. His decision making has been great. Obviously he's got the touch to finish those in between shots. So I think he's going to be a perfect complement to these guys. I really think so.
Yeah, I'm hoping that's the case, just simply because not only he is another undervalued part of this roster, but from a personal standpoint, it's a player who the place that he was drafted, he became the highest paid player. That was awesome to see this offseason, just from a human standpoint, and being able to see his progression over years and his story is just kind of phenomenal. So I'm really hoping that we get to see the best version or most complete version of Sam yet. But yeah, I mean, as one of the guys who is thought of more of as a role player, that's a difficult thing, because you're not always going to be called upon to showcase your entire skill set. You may be asked to do one of two things out there on a nightly basis, and as long as you're doing that, I think genuinely fans will be more accepting of nights that are not so good. I mean, if you have an off night. And I think for Sam in particular, over these last 2 seasons, he's experienced that, the highs, the lows. He's had the games where he's knocked down 7, 8 triples. And then he's had the games where he's been 0 of, 5, 0 of 6 in 3-point distance. And so being able to stay even keeled and have that same type of shooter's mentality out there, I just think that unshakable confidence is something that Sam exudes, and I hope that he continues to bring that to the table. Now, before we head out of here, man, one of the players that I really wanted to talk to you about, because you were here like when he was young, was Darius. And watching some of the side-by-sides of you two, and I think 2019 versus 2025, it's crazy. How much do you think Darius has grown from a player perspective since he first entered the league?
Oh man, leaps and bounds. And that's not even to say like he was a bad player when he came in. He was a 5th pick, whatever he was pick. Like he was very good. But just seeing him, the swagger he walks around with now, the like, yeah, I know you can't guard me type look he gives everybody is there's nothing better. There's nothing better. A confident Darius Garland is the best kind. And that's gonna be a lot of what I try to do this year, is just pumping him up to let him know, like, man, like I got to see that and I got to see this. You need to do more. Whatever you think you're doing, more. You are capable of so much. He's so talented, and it's impressive. Again, as a player, it's impressive to see his growth, but it's really cool to see him, now with all-star accolades and expectations, now still come in with the same kind of work ethic and humble attitude that he had the first time I was here. So I love that kid. He's someone I'm really excited to be on the roster with again.
Oh man, I'm happy to see it. Something else has been really cool, as I'm sure you see, this old retro classic jersey,
man.
right? I am so damn happy about this, Larry. I know you can't see, but I actually got a Larry one just for this occasion. But
Shout out to Double Deuce, man. I appreciate you.
For sure, man. Yeah, I'm very excited about that. The Cavaliers putting these unis on for 14 times this season, including Christmas Day. That is going to be a sight to see, and I cannot wait to see these things in action live, as we saw some of the photos that came of that. But Larry, man, thank you for jumping on the show again on such short notice. I can't wait till this season starts. As I always tell you guys, if you like to reach out, you know how you can. It's Cavalier_pod on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and more. If you'd like to be added to the Cavalier Discord chat, you know what to do. Leave a rating, leave a review, send a screenshot of said review to itscavalier53@gmail.com, and I will send you said invite. Go Cavs.